Dumb Duggar was too dumb to show up to his own event, so now we get Toxie Doxie. Find out what's going on as I hereby invite everyone to join me on my adventures through Marvel Snap. Hey everybody, it's Annabelle. So when I logged in to do the new High Voltage, I noticed that instead of Dumb Duggar, we ended up with Toxie Doxie. So I was able to get together a quick little profile in case you want to know who she is and what she does. So here we go. Toxie Doxie's problems were present at an early age as she ran her father over with a tractor when she was young. She managed to keep this dark side hidden until she became smitten with a brilliant biologist with a birth defect, and she was determined to cure it. He rejected her cure for her after learning the methods she had used for it. She then managed to lure him into a lab, injected a genetic plug-in she had developed into him, paralyzing him and trapping him in the lab to die slowly. Toxie Doxie continued her experiments, giving herself powers and leaving bodies in her wake. She was recruited into the Dark Avengers team and begrudgingly worked with them until striking out on her own. She did freelance work to fund her own lab and took many an odd job. When the Terrigen bomb spread over the world, she leapt at a chance to buy a cocoon victim. The sale, however, was a setup as the cocoon exploded as soon as she got close. Unfortunately for them, she survived. Toxie Doxie donned a healing suit of her own designed to live, then ensured that the Inhuman was stable. She found another genetics lab where she could work off the grid, killing the scientists working there at the time. She deduced that the Inhuman's gift must be invisibility to technology, and excitedly worked on giving herself this gene. She then attacked the supplier's hub, both for revenge and for the other cocoons. She now uses these genes that she gets to get even more powers in a never-ending cycle. Toxie Doxie is a psychopath. She sees everyone around her as a potential source of genes to improve. Her work consumes as she focuses on perfecting herself and then society. She has no issue in fixing you even if you do not want it. She judges others by their genetic perfection and those she finds lacking as an expendable means for her cruelty. She often has little concern for her subjects once she has gotten their gifts, and may dispose of them to ensure the uniqueness of her own abilities. Toxie Doxie has technology that allows her to use genes to improve herself, giving herself an array of powers in addition to minor improvements to her physiology. She can exhale a toxic gas that paralyzes targets as it eats away at them and eventually kills them. You can physically track a target provided she has access to a sample of their DNA. She has limited telepathic abilities. She is invisible to technology detection, and she has gills which allow her to breathe underwater. Toxie Doxie is a geneticist who developed techniques to reproduce biologically based superpowers, who sees everyone as a source of genes to improve, and has no issues fixing you even if you do not want it. This is represented in Marvel Snap as she will improve a character or two that you have, but she'll need a little bit of time to fix them. So in Marvel Snap, what this card does is a 2-cost 1 power with the description of on reveal. It'll give 2 cards in your hand plus 2 power, but the 2 cards that it gives the plus 2 power to will not be able to play the next turn. As far as I looked at her, I figure that she's about a 3-star rating, and let me go over some of the reasons why she falls into that rating. Alright, so before we go into her rating, I just want to bring up something real quick, and then we'll go into her rating. I'm kind of upset that this isn't Dum Dum Duggar and is Toxie Doxie instead. I'm concerned as there's only two possible explanations for this, one of which is greed, one of which is forgetfulness or stupidity, for lack of a better word. So what either happened is when Dark Avengers came out, this was the card that we were meant to get for Dark Avengers for the high voltage, and we got King Eitri at that point. And somebody just forgot and uploaded the wrong file into Marvel Snap, and because they uploaded it, and some people have already gotten the newest card because they grind like crazy or buy gold to get it, they cannot change what the reward is. My other possible concern with this is that now that they know that they're switching to the new Snap packs, they need a 4-cost card to be in the new packs that are coming out. And they're saving Dum Dum Duggar to be the first 4-card pack and will be introduced as soon as the new packs come out. So, just a little concerned about how that happened and where that came from. Now to talk about her as an actual card. So if you were to look at her as an actual card, she's a 2-1, and that's not the greatest thing in the world. But to call her a 2-1 is kind of a weird thing to say. Because if you actually look at her as a stat line, she's the equivalent of a 2-5. Because as long as you have 2 cards in your hand, you will put an extra 2 points into your hand, which gives her an extra 2 points, which basically makes her a 2-5, which is as good as Silk, and almost one of the best 2-drops that you can play. Now, theoretically speaking, I have not had a chance to test this, but the way that certain cards are written, like Jeff, this should not affect Jeff, because Jeff says he don't care. So if you have War Machine or if you have Jeff, they should work no matter what. Also, the reason that I give her such a high ranking is because even a bad card like Groot, you give Groot plus 2 power, it's now a 3-5. If it hits on its target, that's plus 4. That's a 3-9. That's a pretty big hit to hit. One of my major concerns with her is just if your hand is down to 1 card somehow, some way when you do this, you'll only get 1 buff of the way that it is written. You have to choose 2 different cards and will not give you just 1 card twice. The good thing about it is when wrong effects come around, it should hit 2 times. Now that could be a blessing or a curse, because it should hit 2 cards the first time, and then it might hit those same 2 cards again, or it might hit 2 new cards. So do watch out for wrong-like effects, because there is a chance that 4 cards could be locked up for you, but there's also a chance that 2 of your cards could get plus 4 power. There's also a chance that 2 cards get plus 2 power, and 1 card gets plus 4 power, because it works the same way that, like, Gwenpool would work. Now, the cards that you hopefully when they see this on are something like Iron Man, or possibly Black Panther, because you're not playing these cards until turn 5. If you get this card on turn 2, it'll lock up on turn 3. You can play anything that's turn 4. The problem I have with this card is it kind of works the same way that King Eitri does work, where you have to play down the card, and then you get a card into your hand, or you get 2 effects into your hand, but that effect is locked next turn. So it's equivalent of King Eitri drawing you a card, so you can't play it even that next turn. So if you get this card anywhere past 4, you can't play it. So if you get this on 5 or 6, it's useless, because if you play this on 5, your turn 6 will be locked. If you play this on 6, they won't do anything for you. Even on turn 5, it only has any use for you if you have magic down on the board, because then you do get that turn 7. Now also do be curious about cards like King of the Shadows, also known as Shadow King, as these are temporary buffs, not permanent buffs, and Shadow King will change them around if those cards come around. But if it's only taking off 2, that's not the biggest deal for Shadow King to take something off that's only +2. There is a world in which you can use interesting cards like Marta, and maybe even Captain Marvel to get those big spikes at the end. Because making a 1/7 lose you the game is really hard to do. The problem that you gotta watch out for is if you have already a big card in your hand, the difference between a 620 and a 622, or even a 624, or even a 628 is nothing as far as the game is concerned. The other concern that you gotta watch out for this card is there are a whole bunch of locations and a whole bunch of cards that add junk to your hand, or add cards that you don't want to your hand. And because you don't know which card it's gonna hit, if you have something like a rock in your hand, that rock can get the +2. And while it's great to put down a rock for 2 instead of 0, that's not what you were hoping for. So all in all, I think it's a generally good card, and I think it will see some play. My only concern is how tight of a window it has, where you can't play it on 5 and you can't play it on 6. And having some sort of card in your deck that could end up being a dead card if you draw it too late might be too much for people to try to go after this card. Anyways, I want to thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember, play for fun.